After many long battles, the Allied army, led by Marth, finally catch sight of Nina's homeland of Akania. Called the Thousand-Year Palace, the golden capital of Palace is situated just across the mountains. Many of its treasures have been taken, and there are many imprisoned soldiers. Marth's long journey has finally reached one of its fateful destinations. Oh, right, music's off. I gotta turn on our music. Can y'all hear that? Yeah, you can hear that. Okay. There we go. First staffer out of 10. Oh, hold on. Chat's not showing up either. I can fix that. Also, our poll today. Who do you like more? Just who you like more, not like who's the better unit. How is the music volume? You can hear me over it, right? I'm a lot louder than the music, so this should be good. Maria is the Sonic character. I'm talking about this Maria. We can hear you. You can hear me, you can hear the music, you can hear the clicky-clacky of the game. Nina, we'll be able to see Palace very soon. It must hold such painful memories for you. Ah, the fall of Palace. I can still see it in my mind's eyes. So many people were killed. The royals were all taken to the castle gate and executed in public as a warning to everyone. After managing to escape, I turned back to see father and mother, but they were no longer what they used to be. It brought such a terrible shock to me. I wanted to cry, but nothing came out, and all I felt was sorrow and regret. But that was already in the past. Now is not the time to be reminiscing. Go, Marth, to the streets where I was born, to Akanea's royal capital of Palace. Lena reminds me of Lena Rain, and she's based. Damn, people are voting for Lena. Music is fun. I think it helps, since FE1 only has the one track, I think it definitely helps. Hello, Omni. How's it going? FE1 only has one theme. It does, yeah. It just has a player face theme. So this is FE3, but it's got a player face theme, an enemy face theme, and a combat theme. This is FE3, sorry. I think I misspoke and said FE1, but this is FE3. Now this is Pod Racing. FE3 Book 1. So, like, it's the story and maps of FE1. It's an FE1 remake, basically. Because we haven't had enough of those. But yeah, since we skipped the George chapter, this is the map where George gets recruited, for some reason. Is FE3 book one similar to Binding Blade with no redundancy? Because I know a lot of characters are cut. No, I think they're very different. There's a lot of redundant characters in FE1, or FE3 Book 1. Like, it's not beating the redundancy allegations at all. Maria is in many ways the coughing baby in regards to her family and other healer. I mean, but she's epic, though. That's what makes her cool. Don't just vote who's the better unit. Vote who's more epic. She's more epic. That's my argument. Also, I love how these guys are just called hoodlums, like it's Rayman Hoodlum Havoc moments. Rayman Hoodlum Havoc. Only for Game Boy Advance. Steelbow U. Good job, Wolf. Okay, we just gotta make sure to keep the healers out of range of you. You have a Steel Lance. Oh, right, I forgot. We're giving Marth all the stat boosters. I was looking at the secret shop and whatnot, and I realized we gotta give Marth the stat boosters, basically. Even with some removed, Arcanea is like 70% this other guy, but worse. Yeah. Like, next chapter, we're getting Maria, Dolph, McAllen, Tomas, and Boa. All of whom are, like, super redundant. Even Boa, who's, like, the only good one amongst those, is just, it's another Wendell, right? But, like, I won't say no to another Wendell, because Wendell's awesome. Zagaro always fucking failing me. Hi Danny, I've been meaning to ask, I know you dislike 2 times effective weapon, but what's your opinion on effective combat hearts in 3 houses being 2x, e.g. Helm Splitter, Night Kneeler, etc.? I think it's mostly fine there. I still don't like 2 times effectiveness. The main reason I don't like 2 times effectiveness is I think effectiveness should feel effective, right? 2 times effectiveness doesn't feel effective. It feels ineffective. I think an effective weapon should be your, like, generally your best answer to that type of unit. The thing is, in combat arts, since you can basically infinitely repeat them, right? It becomes a lot more, like, abusable and makes it so that if you have someone with Night Kneeler, then Cavs are no longer ever a threat, and I think that, like, making them 2 times effective helps to avoid that problem. Me when bows are worse at killing flyers than a sword. Yeah, exactly! Like, the Will and Rebecca problem, where obviously them having shit stats is also part of it. But the fact that Will and Rebecca can't even one-shot flyers, it just feels bad. Like, hi, I'm designed to be the anti-flyer unit, but I can't kill flyers. Meanwhile, right, you can get Night Kneeler on basically everyone in 3 houses. I think it's a generic. If it's not a generic, it's very common. In 0% growths, Blue Lions, the way that I killed the Death Knight was, and this was hard, not maddening, but Shamir with Night Kneeler, right? And she's not even a Lance user. We gotta reset. I was a little too aggressive with Jagan there. And, like, the fact that you can just do that, it would make, basically, calves just not matter at all in 3 houses, if they were allowed to do that. Doesn't FE9 also have 2 times effectiveness? Yeah, and it doesn't even have the excuse, like, FE7, the excuse people give, and the developers have never actually said this, but people just give the excuse of they assumed Americans were stupid. I would say if they assumed Americans were stupid, giving 2 times effectiveness makes the effective units worse, right? Like, it does kind of make the game harder. I guess it makes it easier for fucking... It makes it easier for fucking keeping Shauna alive. Or not Shauna, Sumia. Not Sumia. Fuck, what's the... Florina. Keeping Florina alive. So, like, I guess technically that could be seen as it. It feels like a pretty big stretch, though. Chapter 9, the Corna Slave Market. Yeah, this is Chapter 9. Although this is in, so this is Chapter 9 or Chapter 11 in, all the versions that are not FE3 Book 1. So it's Chapter 9-11. This is the 9-11 of Fire Emblem chapters. Funny enough, I saw a message today, someone's struggling to keep her alive. New player's gonna struggle anyway. I mean, I think the bigger problem with struggling to keep her alive isn't archers, right? She's just super frail if you don't play Lin mode. If you play Lin mode, I think she's fine, especially if you give her the Angelic Robe. There's an Angelic Robe in Lin mode, right? I'm not just making that up. I'm pretty sure I'm not gas lamping. Night Kneeler is C-rank lances on literally everyone. Yeah, so then... I think, honestly, 2 times effective on combat arts is fine. In the same way that 2 times effective on Keaton and Caden, and Valoria and, Silky, I think is fine. Because it's still very powerful. Like, it's still very strong on them. And I think it would be probably a bit too good. A bit too good. If they were, you know, allowed their whole... everything. I think the gen issue with GBA Pegasus Knights, Shauna, Florina, Vanessa, and Tana off the top of my head. Yeah, all of them are fairly fragile. Although, I'll say this, Vanessa and Lin mode Sumia, or Florina. Fuck, Sumia's Awakening. Why do I keep saying Sumia? But Vanessa and the Lin mode version of Florina, I think, end up bulky enough that you don't really have the bulk problems. I think effective combat odds should be 3x if they're personal, like Atrocity. Well, Atrocity's effective against literally everything, though, right? So wouldn't that, like, also still just be too strong? Probably? It's weird that Wyverns and Falcon Knights use lances. Their stats make it look like they should use axes and swords, respectively. Well, that's the promoted versions in the houses, right? And, wyverns don't get lance fare. They get axe fare, right? I'm pretty sure wyvern is always actually an axe class. I think you might be Mandela affecting? Three times effective Raging Storm. Oh, that would be... Like, it's over for Rhea at that point. Wyvern is Lance and Sword in GBA. Oh, you're talking about GBA. Sorry, I thought we were still talking about Three Houses. Because you mentioned Atrocity. My bad, I misunderstood. That's on me. Sorry. Alright, so we're stabbing this during Martha because we need to for the economy. Because of how fucking expensive the secret shops are. I got into the series with Awakening, so older wyvern not having axes is strange to me. So I got into it with Path of Radiance, and even there, wyverns were the axe unit, but they were lances to axes. Like, unpromoted were lances, and then they get axes on promotion. It's Radiant Dawn, where they start out with axes. Like, I think Axe-Lance is a good weapon combo for them. I think it makes sense. Lance is honestly being the go-to for mounted units. I think makes sense. They are kind of a mounted weapon type. Like, you stab downwards with them, right? I think it would be cool if lances... Okay, so hear me out. Hear me out in this fucking weird sort of Berwick Saga-esque mechanic that I think would be really cool, right? What if lances were stronger if you were using them against the opposite unit type? So, if you're infantry, they're stronger against mounts. Because you are stabbing upwards, you can reach the mount now. And if you're mounted, they're stronger against infantry because you're stabbing downwards and you can reach the infantry now. Like, I know that that's a sort of reminiscent of the whole lances get stronger with every point of movement from Berwick Saga or like Sigurd Engage. But like, it makes some amount of sense, right? I feel like it's kind of baller. It's funny how the one lance infantry unit, Halberdier, can't use the weapon type in its name because halberds are axes. Yeah, that is actually funny. Although halberd, Chad, how do you feel about playable halberdiers? I don't really care for them. I feel like the thing about playable soldiers, right, that I think leads to me not liking them all that much, is they don't really fill a niche. Swordmasters they only get swords, they're super fast. Berserkers only get axes, they tend to be the frail, strong, inaccurate clunkers. And Armor Knights are the lance infantry that focus on defense. What do soldiers do? They're just well-rounded. I think that's boring. Soldier Halberdier is so boring. Even Sniper, like Sniper, they only get access to one weapon type, but they're accurate, right? them in Engage. I feel like Playable Halberd... I like Playable Halberdiers. I feel like we need more infantry for lances without being slow and tanky. I mean, I feel like what is their purpose, though, right? If a unit is well-rounded, it tends to be pretty bad. With the exception of Cavaliers, who are, like, well-rounded, but secretly their best stat is their movement. So, like, that's why they're good. Is, like, they're presented as the well-rounded class, but they're actually the movement class. Snipers also have the ranged gimmick. They do, true. I'd prefer just getting rid of them, but I could see high-res halberdiers being a way to keep them around. See, but the thing is that high-res, it doesn't really make sense for them, right? Wouldn't that make more sense for, like, monks? Sort of your fisticuff brawlers? On the topic of monks, though, actually, because martial monks, right? How do y'all feel about staffers having a weapon versus no weapon? Because in both 3 houses and now Engage, we've had 2 games in a row where staffers have been able to fight. And traditionally, staffers don't get weapons, right? I think staffers with weapons is awesome. I want staffers to always have weapons because it means the annoyance of having to train them up by a slow staff experience is over. I think the thing is, right? If you're trying to train up an under-leveled unit and they can do combat, you can have them enemy phase if you set things up properly, and that's more experience than just the player phase action. And you can kill strong enemies, and that's more experience than killing weak enemies, right? Even just getting a kill is more experience than shit, right? I think Engage only gave them weapons so they could fight in the arena. Fists are useless. Fists are pretty useless. I agree. But I honestly like that because the focus is on healing. The fact that they can... Like, I think if staffers get weapons, it should be relatively weak, right? And the focus is on healing. They are utility units, first and foremost. But if you want to train up Fromm or Jean, right? You can do that by setting up kills for them, which is sort of the traditional way to train up your training projects. And I think that's good. Being able to do that is good, I think. I think staffers should have weapons, but they are weak, but usable prior to promo where they get a good weapon type. Or they can focus on or they can focus on staffing after promo. Like if we're doing branched promos still, they can choose like, hey, you can either be focused on staffing and like lean into the utility role and you keep the shit weapon, or you get a good weapon now, right? And that's an interesting choice now. I think breaking ranged weapons does give fists meaningful utility. Why is that? I think breaking is generally not very good outside of the early game, but especially ranged weapons, like breaking an archer, I guess breaking mages matters. But breaking an archer, it's like just attack them at one range, like this archer's a clown. My point is, don't give staffers weak physical weapons, give them weak magic. Well, that's what Three Houses does, kind of. Because, like, if you're a monk, you can use your... It's not weak magic, but it's gonna be weak magic because, you know, you're untrained, right? You don't have their higher level spells. But that's sort of the Three Houses approach. Breaking sounds cool, but it's actually lame and is an enemy-only utility. Just like linked attacks. Linked attack archetype. Breaking is a neat idea, but they've run out of steam too quickly. I found my people. Chat, I found my people. You are my people. I see so many people hype up breaking and talk about how, like, the weapon triangle finally is useful and means something. Hit and avoid is so much more useful than breaking ever will be. I think I missed the weapon triangle. How would you feel about, because Three Houses has like enemy only weapon triangle with the breaker skills on classes, right? How would you feel about no weapon triangle, but promoted classes get breaker skills? So like, there's no weapon triangle innately, but if you promote to Swordmaster, then you're good against axes. But if you're just a Cavalier using a sword, you don't get to use weapon triangle, right? Like, that's a special feature of certain classes. Because then that would also help you, like, have a reason to go Swordmaster instead of, like, just 17 Wyverns, right? If we're gonna have reclass emblem, I do think people exaggerate how much reclass emblem is just 17 Wyverns. But this would certainly help. Like, it is still sometimes a problem. Weapon triangle isn't relevant in engaged late game, since enemies can break you. Is still relevant, because enemies can break you. It's not like FE8 where Seth can just enemy phase a bunch of axe mooks with a javelin. True, I do think the weapon triangle is relevant in terms of not wanting to get broken. I think that is true. That is a true fact. I approve of reasons to make someone a Swordmaster because I like that class. It's my guilty pleasure class. Chat, do y'all have guilty pleasure classes? Mine's probably armor. I think they're funny. But they're usually really fucking bad. And outside of ROM hacks, well, because in ROM hacks they tend to be good, but outside of ROM hacks they're like bad and unfun. For reclassing, it helps if limits like the Arcanade games or Three Houses with battalions. Yes, no, the limits are definitely good. What if, so Fortune's Weave is a Fodlan game, right? What if battalions, instead of being limited by your movement type, were limited by your class? Like, what if, like, this is the Swordmaster battalion. If you have a mercenary battalion, you have to be a mercenary, right? That would be kind of cool, I think. Assuming battalions come back. Because the problem is, right, like, you can just give, aside from flyers, you can just give the good battalions to any class. So if you're like, oh, I've got a bunch of snipers, like, it doesn't have to be the sniper battalion. You can give a mercenary battalion to the snipers, and it's still just as good. I can't say no to Midori's little Mechanist scooter. Yo, Mechanist Midori moment. Mechanist Midori awesomeness. My guilty pleasure is a bow class non-warrior who have it as an option. I really like warriors. Actually, can I change my answer, chat? Will you allow me to change my answer? I like warriors, but I like focusing on bows. Like, bow warrior is so epic. Thank you, ROM hacks. I like Swordsman and Berserker. I missed the 30 crit. 30 crit made those classes so good. Especially Swordsmaster. Although, imagine Sacred Stones with 30 crit. Like, just how hype that would be for Ross. He still wouldn't be, like, good. But it would be hype. And, like, Ross is fun, right? Bowcabs is my guilty pleasure. Yo, Bowcab! Y'all are naming all the good classes! I like Assassin and GPA because of Lethality Jafar. Yo, the Lethality gaming. You love to see it. My favorite weapon type is Light Magic. I'm suffering. I mean, Light magic basically isn't a thing anymore. Magic types, like anima isn't a thing either. It's just magic, right? I guess technically you could say anima is a thing because fire and thunder tomes exist, but like, I think maybe this is... Doga! That's so unfortunate! Lord Marth, good luck. That's such an unfortunate crit. Rip Bozo. I guess Reason and Faith were separate in 3 houses. Yeah, but Faith was mostly utility spells. Like, yes, there were attacking spells, but like, come on, right? Honestly, I think 3 houses separating Reason and Dark Magic was also really stupid. I didn't like that either. Faith spells are the closest thing to light magic in modern FE. I think, honestly, they're closer to staffing, right? They're basically like staffing. Are you going for full survival here, or do you just have a reason to keep Doga alive? I'm not going for full survival, but Doga, he had, Javelin on him, and I also think Doga is like, he's still got 11 defense, right? I know we're getting Dolph and McAllen next map, but they start out in jail. And even once we get them, like, Wolf and Zagaro are hitting the bench pretty soon, right? And Kashim, although that's George is showing up, right? But yeah, I'm not explicitly going for full survival, but without Convoy Warp, it is a lot more tempting to reset. And Doga's, like, awesome. Both in terms of, I think he's quite a good unit, in this version of FE1, FE3 Book 1. And also in that, he's Doga and he's awesome. It's a shame that there's not really good offensive light magic users. I think, and Luna will get mad at me in the comments for this, but I don't think magic is very good in 3 houses in general. I think it's too heavy, enemy resistance is not low enough to make it worth it, and you can't use combat arts, and it has way too few uses until you start investing your skills in getting more uses, and then once you invest your skills in getting more uses, now you've fucking, like, spent skills on that, right? And then it's like, what are we even doing? I wish Byleth's personal class got White Tome Fair. They gave Byleth a lot of white magic. Byleth's personal class is so lame. Gotta be one of the lamest Lord classes, or personal classes, or whatever, in the series. It's just so sauceless. Oh, I guess that kind of describes most Lord classes, doesn't it? I don't know. It just feels disappointing. Like, you get Immaculate One. It seems like it should be so cool, and then it's just like, give me nothing. Sword Fair and Terrain Resistance. I know, right? I don't even know what the skills are. I reclassed out of it instantly. I did a playthrough with Byleth in Immaculate One. It's not very good. It has a mastery skill that's basically like a cracked version of Inspiration, but it takes so long to master that you're never fucking getting there. I had way more fun making Dimitri into a Death Knight than whatever his dead daddy was. What? Death Knight Dimitri? Isn't that Yuritsa's class? Am I missing something? Or is that like I'm missing something, aren't I? I always reclass Byleth. The class is so underwhelming. Not only that, but I find it hard to trade. My brother in the other weapon ranks, almost every playthrough, it's Byleth's sword. Yeah, Byleth is kind of annoying to train ranks on. That is true. Dark Knight! Oh, I must have misread that. I'm sorry. I thought you said Death Knight. I was like, I must be missing something. Yeah, I am. I'm illiterate. That's what it is. I'm a fucking idiot. No, I should've, yeah. I should've realized that's what you meant. Byleth is way easier to train post-time skip. Yeah, since, like, everyone can tutor them. But at that point, it's kind of like, what is the point? Did I just get Maria killed? I don't think so. I think she lives a hit. I feel like it's too late. Yeah, it's like you can do it, but it feels kind of pointless. Because the main reason you're trying to get weapon ranks is so Byleth can get skills. You know, like hit plus 20, darting blow, and like go into classes. Yeah, only 15 attack. We're fine. Unless she gets doubled. Which she doesn't. Okay, we're fine. I wish personal classes in Three Houses were good outside of Claude's. They have awesome designs. Are you enjoying FE3's 0% growths? I am. It's fun. Aside from needing to reset to random, like, 2% crits. Just wait till we get the heroes, right? Just wait until we run into heroes. Then we'll have all the random 10% crits that we can't do anything about. And I might have to start implementing a, Kaga's Turnwheel policy. We used Kaga's Turnwheel very late into the previous map. I might have to come up with actual rules for Kaga's Turnwheel instead of just vibes. Because, like, last time it was basically just the vibe of, like, nobody fucking wants to be here for another hour, right? I wish I could get the FE3 translation patch working for it. I could for FE4 and 5, but not for this game. I'm using the old translation, and it's epic. Death Knight is fine. His bases are good enough in Three Houses to make Three Houses a normal game. Oh, hold on. I healed the wrong guy. Sorry, I'm rewinding. I have the rule, Kaga's Turnwheel for when we staff the wrong person. And Kaga's Turnwheel for when we hit weight instead of staff. Because being able to staff someone who's at full HP is so stupid. Is Kaga's Turnwheel just a stave use? No, it's emulator rewind. I mean, Nintendo PC rewind. Very real Nintendo PC rewind. But we should probably come up with rules for Kaga's Turnwheel. Maybe we get like 5 charges per map. No, that's too many. Because the other rule is gonna be that, like, the staff thing, right? We're allowed to do the staff thing. Berwick save state. We did Berwick save states for, we did Berwick save states for Hag. Mistakes are usually how I use my time crystal. Yeah. Okay, Zagaro. We're gonna enemy face the bow guy with Zagaro. Yeah, let's implement the rule, let's say 3 Kaga's turn wheels, but misclicks, like FE3 style misclicks don't count. Because that way, the random crit BS, I think is gonna be... This is mostly a, I don't want to fucking I don't want to spend my entire life doing this, right? Jagen's growths are close to just Jagen in this mode, yeah. Pretty epic. Pretty epic. Engage is a weird game because theoretically it has everything I want in an RPG, but I just can't get into it. I like customizability in RPGs a lot, but I can barely play Engage for any consistency. Engage is a game that I really liked from a gameplay perspective when it first came out and I first played it. There's a lot of depth and customizability, like you say. I've liked it less over time. Part of it is, like, the late game sucking, but, like, the late game sucks in every Fire Emblem, right? Although, I did post an Ice Rider recently about, like, why I don't like the late game. I was surprised a lot of people are like, the late game is actually peak, it's one of the best late games in all of Fire Emblem. And, like, that's a valid opinion to have if that's how you feel. I can't understand that perspective, personally. The meta is just stat stacking. Stat stacking and warp skipping are kind of like your only options. Hero Ball kind of works, sort of. Like, Hero Ball can be fun. I hate how Engage doesn't have a durability mechanic. It takes away a big part of Fire Emblem, and I hope it doesn't become a trend for future games. Why, it's always interesting to see what people say they think is, like, a big part of Fire Emblem. Weapon durability has never been a consistent part of the series, for what it's worth. I totally get enjoying weapon durability. I think I prefer durability to not. But, like, FE2, the second game in the series, didn't have weapon durability, right? Fates, one of the more popular entries, no weapon durability. FE4 has weapon durability, but it's fake. Like, it's fake weapon durability, because you can just infinitely repair them, right? Three Houses doesn't have durability for spells, only has durability for weapons. And again, you can infinitely repair them. So, like, I don't think weapon durability is such a crucial part of the series that getting rid of it feels like, you know, egregious in any way, shape, or form, personally. Forging ruins the Fates weapon balance. To an extent, but I think, honestly, the only real victims of Forges, in terms of Fate's weapon balance, are the, iron weapons. Everything else still has a niche, or is just, like, kind of badly designed to begin with. But iron weapons, the fact that you can so cheaply forge a bronze weapon to just be a better iron. Everything else, you can't actually, like, reliably forge something to do its job better, necessarily. I hate Iron Dagger +3. Why are you spending that much money on an Iron Dagger, though? Like, ignoring the resources, because I know a lot of people do infinite resources. Money is still a resource. Iron Dagger +3 costs 8 Iron Daggers. I'm sorry, but it should be good. It should be good. If you're spending that much money on it, by the way, it's not worth the money. You would get much more bang for your buck buying other stuff. I think people, I'll be honest, I don't take any claim of a forge above +2 seriously. Most of the time, most forges are going to be +1. And the ones that are not are going to be +2. Like, the really, you're spending a lot of money on this. Kaze's strength. Kaze's strength is fine. You know, Kaze actually has very good personal strength growth. His base is kind of shaky, but, like, even then, Kaze's strength is fine. He one-round stuff. He one-round stuff without needing, like, the super awesome forge. You don't need to spend $1 million for Kaze to kill stuff. I promise you, he kills stuff without it. Just an iron +1, or sorry, a bronze +1. That's the other thing. Iron Dagger +3. My head auto-corrected to bronze, because bronze is the lowest. Iron +3? I on enemy face, I need to check how much gold that is. Hand axe forges are underrated. True! Give this person Reddit gold. Iron Dagger FE Fates. I need to see how much this would cost. Because it's an excessive amount of money. Even for Conquest, where you get a good amount of money available. I was raising my eyebrow, you shouldn't forge over +2, because I didn't realize the discussion had shifted from Engage to Fates. Oh yeah, and Engage you cap out. Engage you cap out weapons by the end of the game. But we're talking about Fates now. In Fates, forges are quite pricey, because they exponentially get more expensive. To forge an iron +1, you just need 2 irons. But to forge an iron +2, you need 4 irons. And to forge an iron +3, you need 8 irons. Which is... As soon as I kill this guy, we will see. An Iron Dagger in Fates costs 1,000 gold. So an Iron Dagger +3 is 8,000 gold. That's very easy math. Even Fire Emblem fans can do that math. 8,000 gold! That's ridiculous! In Tellius, it's best to go past +2. Well, Tellius is a whole different forging system. It doesn't even have the levels. In Tellius, you specifically boost certain stats. So I think in Tellius, there's not even really effectively a +2. You go like, you know, plus however much might you want, plus however much hit you want. Imagine spending 8 grand just to get a +3. I know, right? Like, unless you're using the DLC to grind for infinite money, or you're grounding for money on Birthright and Rev, like, that's just not a feasible spending amount. Even on Conquest, 8,000 is a lot. To give some context, right? To give some context, for $8,000, you can get a fucking Brave weapon. Like, Just off the top of my head, that is what 8,000 gold gets me. I could get a brave weapon, or I could get a knife with 7 might. 7 might! A 7 might weapon for 8,000 gold! Tellius Forging I like the best, not for any mechanical reasons, but because you can change the color and name. Bring back changing color and name forges. It is the best mechanic in all of Fire Emblem. I will not be taking feedback because I'm objectively correct. Prince Marth, I'm George, a sniper of Achenia. After the Battle of Pales, I was captured by the Darui Empire, but I managed to escape. When you agreed to protect Nina, I was already here waiting for you. From now on, I will use my silver bow to aid the liberation of my homeland. Some people would say +3 is better than a brave weapon because they hate the -4 defense and res debuff. Just use it on player phase. You can lose 4 defense and resistance. You'll kill the enemy by braving them. I understand, like, you know, if you leave it equipped and just your stats get shredded, right? That's a feel bad moment, but that's also a skill issue moment, in my opinion. Like, just trade equip it off someone, or don't enemy phase with the brave weapons. They don't even get brave on enemy phase. They're brave on player phase only, right? Do you need a slave? This translation! Do you need a slave? Right, we only have weakling kids for sale, but we can sell them to you for cheap price. You are selling children! How dare you! Please only sell adults! I, Marth, am okay with adult slavery, but not children slavery. If you want to live, release the children and leave this place at once. Ah, the Iridian army! Help! You must have suffered, but it's alright now. Please return safely to your homes. Why aren't you leaving? I no longer have a home to go back to. Huh? Huh? You are a girl, but why are you wearing boys' clothes? I am Bishop Miroa's daughter, Linda. I dressed up as a boy to escape from Garneth, but then I was caught by the slave merchants. Really? So you are Miroa's daughter, but you can relax now. Nina has been worried about you. From now on, we will protect you, so you won't be in danger any longer. No, Lord Marth, I want to fight as well. I have my father's Aratome, which he gave me. As long as Nina permits, I can use it. I want to personally defeat Garneth to avenge my father. Sexist Marth? Bro, question mark. Amazing translation moment. Bro, you want to buy some slaves? Bro, I'm selling children! Marth is the last person to be talking with how where FE1 went. Yeah. The FE1 outfit, yeah. We should do our unit reviews, though. We got George. That's not George. We got George with his iconic silver bow. He's got good stats. He's a sniper. He uses silver bow. He's like a manual away from the Parthia. He's very fast. If you trained up Gordon or Tomas, they'll probably be a little bit better than him. In a zero growth context, he's gonna be the best one because the Tomas promotion thing doesn't happen anymore. But yeah, George has serviceable stats, does bow chip very good. And he can use strong bows. Like, he's basically a free Parthia user, basically a free silver bow user, and his combat with them is pretty good. Castor has the same strength as him. I thought Castor had 6. Oh no, the Zangaro has 6. Yeah. No. So, like, a trained-up Castor or a trained-up Gordon will be better than him. I think that 12 speed is the big sticking point, right? because the other bow users tend to be very slow. Bows were kind of like an armor equivalent in the old Fire Emblem games. So being able to double stuff, Tomas is better than George. Nah, that's just not true. You're confusing it with FE1. And even in FE1, I think that that's propagandized. But it's definitely not true in FE3. Tomas, unfortunately, got nerfed. Not into the ground, but like George is just better because he starts promoted. And he starts with speed. Like 12 speed is good. He doubles stuff. He has 10 weapon level. He uses the silver bow. It's good. Like, I think this is a good unit. It's sort of like a filler unit moment. He does your bow combat. But if you trained up Gordon, if you trained up Castor, if you trained up Tomas, like, they'll eventually surpass him. The main selling point is 12 speed, 10 weapon level, right? And 8 defense, honestly. For us, at least. I think in a vanilla play, any archer is gonna get that. Meanwhile, Linde? Linde is a mage alternative to Merrick. Sort of traditionally, she's thought of as the strong but slow mage, whereas Merrick is thought of as the fast mage, but unless I'm misremembering, I'm pretty sure Linde has a good speed growth. Yeah, she's got a 60% speed growth, so I think that's like a retcon thing from the remakes. Or it could be because her personal tome, Aura, is heavy as shit. I can't view its stats, but you're not doubling anything with Aura, like you just get weighed down to oblivion. And that's sort of her niche over Merrick. Merrick has the crit tome. Linde has the Aura tome, the nuke tome. Hitting on res is very good. What is Aura's FE3 item Aura? Let's just look up Aura. So it is... Oh, it's only 6 weight in this. Okay, honestly, I was confusing with FE1 where it's super heavy. She could probably double with it, and it's 20 might. That's fucking ridiculous. Yeah, Linde's pretty good. It's just, you know, needs to get trained up. And obviously Frail Mage using Frail Mage unit moment. 18 HP, 2 defense. She does not eat physical hits at all. It might be my buy for Ender level growth units, but I always use Linde over Merrick. Yeah, I mean, I think it comes down to the guy who joins earlier versus the girl who joins later and has arguably a better PRF, although Excalibur's effective against flyers. So, like, Merrick has that niche of shooting down flyers, especially Draco Knights, with no res, but scary defense. Whereas Linde, she can do that with Aura, but, like, not as effectively. Is it weird that I prefer the E in translation patch over J? I don't know what you mean by that, I'm sorry. But yeah, Linde, just another mage. Pretty good if you train her up. Very underleveled for this point, unfortunately. Most mages in general are frail. Yup. Frail mage unit moment. Like, even Wendell, right? He has like, what, 5 defense? Yeah, 5 defense, 22 HP. So, frail mage moment. Pent got the fucking favoritism. I don't think either of them can be called Power Mage prior to DSFE. They both have a strength growth of 20. I think the thing that makes Linde the Power Mage is her tome. A 20 might tome makes up for not having any strength. Like, if that's a 20 might tome, those are some nukes. Alright, so now we gotta kill this guy. Zero speed. So we can double him with Merrick with Excalibur. Alright, we need to get ready. We need to get into position. Tomas is better than Linde. I know everyone loves Tomas because of the funny, like, non-binary glitch. But, like, can we admit Tomas kind of stinky? Is this a safe space for that? MP7 Pent is relatively frail. I think MP7 Pent is bulky enough. I will never admit to Tomas being bad. Never! How is Tomas justifiable over Linde, who has a 20 mite PRF? 20 mite hits on res, by the way. Non-binary people can be stinky too. Stinky! What is the ballista range in this game? Because it's clearly not 10. What is the non-binary glitch? So, all of the units in, all of the units have their gender marked as 0 or 1 for boys and girls. But Tomas has 2, which is not only not, you know, the 0-1 boy-girl gender, but also literally not binary. Like, the gender is marked in binary code, and then Tomas is literally not binary. Very funny, I think. I think funny. But, because of that, Tomas is often hailed as, like, a fan theory, like, non-binary icon. And, combine that with the fact that, you know, gamers will attach themselves to Shitty Archer, and you end up with, a unit who's a little bit overhyped. A unit who's a little bit overhyped. Tomas is not shite? I didn't say Tomas was shite. I did, actually. I said Shitty Archer. That's true. Tomas is Shitty Archer, though. I'll own it. This is a safe space. Tomas stinks. We'll get to the Tomas unit review, but it's like just another, like, what if Gordon died? It's like how McAllen is like, what if Doga died? What if Doga were dead? Then you would use McAllen. What if Gordon was dead? You would use Tomas instead. Or if you didn't train one up, and then decided last minute, like, you know what, actually, I changed my mind. I do want a unit in this class. Even though I had the opportunity to do so. And chose not to. I've changed my mind. And then they're like, he's a classic Effie Archer, of course he's shitty. Archer bigotry. Archer bigotry was real though! No, Gordon used George, not Tomas. You get essentially a better Tomas, literally the map before Tomas ever joins. I know, right? Okay, we'll Fire Breath the Ballista. Tomas is buns. If Tomas is gonna be an icon, people need better standards. I mean, know, I think attaching yourself to a shitty unit is one of the joys of Fire Emblem. Bantu Gaming. I have to re-record Bantu's unit review. I have to re-record Bantu's unit review because 0% Tomas is a sniper with 9 strength. Incorrect. Incorrect. You're thinking of FE1. But also, you have to train him up. I am of the opinion that the Tomas training arc means in a non-0% context, he's just not fucking worth it. You're not a real gamer until you see a dog shit unit and say that's literally me. Like, that's the other thing, right? If we're evaluating units, somebody asked why I brought up growths in evaluating units. Like, it's because they fucking exist. Tomas has 7 strength, plus 2 on promo. Damn, am I spreading misinformation then? The problem with training units in games like these is they're so easy, so there's no point. I think the bigger issue, cause like, I like Ross and Sacred Stones, and that's an even easier game than this. I think the bigger issue is they don't fulfill any special niche, right? Like, oh, shit. We need to use Kaga's turn wheel. Burn! Blood, flesh, burn everything. This guy is so scary. Oh! Jagan dodged. Okay. This guy is ridiculous, though. Est in Shadow Dragon Hard 5 is better than Ewan or whoever. I think Ewan, like, is easier to train, and wouldn't that make him better? Okay, you have 20 attack, and it pierces defense, to my knowledge. Alright, we will Thunderbolt you to start out. Unit feel-wise? I think, again, oh, are they immune to fucking... Wait, are they immune to magic? I thought that was just Mage Dragons. No, we just missed. 4 damage, Jesus Christ. 5 res, 12 defense. Fucking hell. Alright, Hardin, I need you to dragon kill. Every time I play this map, I just bring Abel and send him into the Manakee Meat Grinder. No! We missed! Oh, that's actually so bad. The Linde Aratome moment, though. Okay. We'll get the Linde Aratome moment. Hardin! Why is everyone like, one, yeah, this unit is bad, I want debates to happen? What? How did Wendell and Hardin both miss a 94? Well, that's why we have 100% accuracy in Aura. What? 5 res, right. Alright, we're using Kaga's turn wheel. Because I forgot about the 5 res. Kaga's turn wheel. I mean, there's some units you can argue that on, but what are you going to defend about Tomas? He's literally an archer with bad strength and agility in a game with no reclassing. If chat is to be believed, he doesn't actually have bad strength. Have you played FE3? I have. He's an archer, so he's good. Rebecca Archetype. King Medivh, forgive me. Danny, do you know about the RNG bugs with how growths are calculated? It's why you see a skill luck weapon level so often? No, what is the bug? Inform me. Archers are good because they do damage and don't get hit back a lot of times. If get hit, you skill issue. Yeah, you should have just dodged. You should have just dodged. Obviously. Okay. And we should be through the worst of it. Oh. Kaga's turn wheel. Alright, we've used 2 of our 3 charges. Who's up, Kaga Ignite turn wheel? Chad, I need you to keep me honest with my Kaga's turn wheel charges. I love the reductionist mindset Fire Emblem has. What do you mean reductionists? Are you saying that it's reductionist for me to say that Tomas is bad? I mean, I am, I guess, technically reducing him from a complex and nuanced character, the complex and nuanced portrait of Tomas, to just be a shitty little archer boy. Or I guess not a shitty little archer boy. If we're doing the Tomas supremacy. Controller? Controller, hello? Uh-oh. My controller has stopped responding. The moral gray complexities of Arcadia characters. Hang on, we gotta make a save state so I can reset the emulator. I mean, my very real SNES to fix the controller. There we go. Shitty little archer they. Yeah, shitty little archer non-binary icon. Nintendo PC. Very real SNES, very real. Controller sells seething over keyboard chats. If you want to defend units other people say are bad, just do it. Don't say they're good, actually. Tell us why they are good. If you want to argue for them, argue. Yeah, I think I would mostly agree with that. Although I would say Odd Panda is making an argument. It's just not one that I agree with. It's from the perspective of, if I'm understanding correctly, it's just zero growths moment, right? But, like, again, if you want to train up an archer, you've probably trained up Castor or, Gordon. Sorry, Kashim or Gordon. Didn't mean to new translation name you there, buddy. And if you didn't bother doing that, you get George for free. I know in a Zero Growth's context, you get, like, the promo bonus on Tomas. You get 9 strength. What's Tomas's base speed? Because, like I said in the George unit review, I think that 12 speed is a very relevant part, and the weapon level, because Tomas does not have 10 weapon level at base. I'm, like, 80% certain. Who doesn't love the complex characters like the Armonite who sits in a chair while Sita marries Marth? Dolph and Macallan are the most complex and nuanced characters of our time. But, like, the truth of the matter is, right, in terms of oversimplification, I do think the FA community does sometimes oversimplify units, but I also think that sometimes units are just incredibly simple. Especially in a game like FE3 Book 1, right? Where there's just not that much too many units. How many unit reviews have we done where it's like, we get 2 of the same guy for free? Like Wolf Zagara, Dolph Macallan coming up. We got 3 Cavaliers in the same chapter. The game just, unfortunately, doesn't have a lot of complexity. There are some units with interesting niches. Benutu's probably the most complicated. Yeah, Caesar and Rad, right? This is a reminder that it's a remake of Iron Man in the game. Exactly, exactly. Like, so many of these guys are just, they're functionally FE11 generics before FE11 generics. And I think that's awesome, but I also think it makes talking about them and specific units not as interesting as later titles. Even Cain and Abel, yeah. And, you know, the people who would iterate on these sort of archetypes, or whatever you want to call them, they do get more nuanced, and they do get more interesting. You know, it's more interesting to talk about, Kent and Sane, or Ford and Kyle, or, you know, who insert Christmas Cav here, than it is Cain and Abel. Hardin is the best of the 3. I forgot about Hardin! I meant Violent, Roche, and Mathis. I forgot about... You get 4 Cavaliers on that map! I feel like I'm the lawyer for mid-units. The fact of the matter is, despite Arcanea giving you 1,000,000 deployment slots, it also gives you very little reason to deploy the mid-units, because it hands you people like Wendell right out the gate, right? So it sort of has the FE7 thing, where it's like, why should I use shitty unit when Minerva is here? Mathis doesn't join on Hardin's map. This is FE3, baby! He does. He does. It's Chapter 4 of FE3 Book 1. They're all on the same map. They moved Mathis to that map because they deleted Mathis's map. They moved Merrick to that map. And then they moved Wendell back to the prison map. And Wendell's just in jail. It's an FE3 moment. Wendell is low-key a Pent archetype. So fucking true. So fucking true. But yeah, Mathis is one of the red Cavs on that map. You can kill Mathis with Violent if you're evil. I could go on a debate about how Alcrest does not need Luna at all, but that would take forever. I mean, I think it certainly helps him. It's part of his late game build. But I also think it's overhyped. I think the bigger thing is that, like, his Luna chance is often, like, Etier's accuracy chance. So they kind of do the same thing. But also bow unit moment, right? So they just shoot down flyers. Nina, this is Pala's castle. Ah, Pala's, at last. Pala's, it's so great. I have finally returned. But there should be many more captive knights in the castle. I really want to help them. I understand. The enemy's reinforcements haven't come yet. We'll charge into the castle. The many small kingdoms of this region were united to become the Holy Kingdom of Achaea over 600 years ago. The founder, Adra I, obtained 3 weapons from the deities, then fought the Holy War to reunite the continent. From then on, the Kingdom of Achaea became known as the Holy Kingdom, protected by the deities, and the royal family were deeply respected. Recently, 6 kingdoms became independent, which was also thanks to the help of Achaea. Right now, Prince Marth makes his first steps into the ground holy capital of Palace. Palace Castle? Wait! It is Palace Castle! Wait, that's so crazy. Alright, so it's an indoor map. Can we sell broken items? Is that, like, allowed? Broken items can be sold for minimal gold. Hey, you know, I wanna sell them. Because we're gonna need as much money as we can get for the fucking secret shop stat booster moment. Eight defense. If they bring back split armies, they should try harder than how Sacred Stones did it. Yeah, your entire squad just leaves Erica alone to go to Johanna while Ephraim murks Grado. If you want to be insane, you can sell Bantu's Firestone. It sells for 500 per use. That is a lot of money. We get a second one, right? There could be some insanity in terms of the second Dragonstone moment. Baffling to me they thought making Fire Emblem with NES RPG design was a good idea. Even more baffling that they thought it was a good idea to keep it that way. What do you mean NES RPG design? Alright, so we gotta use the power ring on Marth. Let's try this. Boa, the people in the castle are panicking. What exactly is going on?
Perhaps Nina has brought the Liberation Army here.
Huh? Really? Then perhaps we can be saved?
But Medea, we can't get complacent right now. This continues, the enemy will decide to finish us off. Without weapons, we're sitting ducks.
But Boa, we've finally chased the enemy away from Akanea. Even if we die here, we should have no regrets.
Ahaha, you're still so strong. Still, if you die, Astria will be very sad.
Yes, I just want to see him one last time. That's my final wish.
Well, Medea, for that wish you must endure to the end. Mustn't give up.
So, we got some units to review. We got a lot of them! Let's start with McAllen and Dolph, because they're like the same dudes. Armor Knights, 12 defense, 13 defense Armor Knights. If you didn't train up Doga, or if you want a second Doga, this is another Doga. Bulk is apparently, Bulk is rare, but you've got Benutu, so I don't know, they fulfill a niche in a way that the other replacements don't, because at least with Dolph and McAllen, there's only Doga as the alternative at this point, whereas if you get a Cavalier, it's 10,000 Cavaliers, right? So that's nice for them, and I do think the bulk is nice. But they're replacement units, they're Shadow Dragon replacement units, right? 8 strength and 12 and 13 defense. 5 speed also, this is another one where Dolph is just better, right? 5 speed, 13 defense, 8 strength, 3 speed, 12 defense. He's even got the weapon level advantage. Why does Kaga do this so often? Where one is just better. I'm pretty sure Dolph just has better growths too, because that's usually how it fucking works. Dolph has better growths across the board! Dolph has 30% attack growth, 40% skill growth, 30% speed growth, 10% luck growth, 70% weapon level growth, 20% defense growth, compared to McAllen. 30% strength growth, 10% skill growth, 20% speed growth, 10% luck growth, 40% level growth, 10% defense growth. Even HP, Dolph has 70%, McAllen has 50%. Why is Dolph just better? Why is Dolph just better? So if you want an Armor Knight, pick this one. Kaga didn't invent niches yet, just class niches. Speaking of niches, we had the Tomas debate recently. 5 fucking speed. Oh boy, he's got the same strength as George, but George's strength is the same as Castor's. 5 fucking speed on an archer. He does get, what is it, 5 on promo, right? Scrolling up, scrolling down. Where's Tomas? Where did I put him? Tomas, yeah. 5 skill, 5 speed, 2 strength. Woohoo! 11 speed in Sniper. Sure, but he's 2 levels away from that. Like, you do still have to train him up. And that's the problem with Tomas, is like, he can eventually kind of replicate what George does. But you know who else does that? Gordon, who's been around since chapter 1, right? Like, if you wanted another archer, you probably trained up Gordon. In the same way that if you wanted an armor knight, you probably trained up Doga, right? These guys just kind of exist as, like, the worst version of someone earlier. And if you want a second one, George is right there. Is 2 levels that bad? No, but it's not good either. Like, with these stats, just fucking train up Gordon. Like, come on. Gordon is level 2. Gordon also joins in chapter fucking 1. I'm sorry, Gordon has already reached promotion level by this point if you're using him. Like, of course, Gordon is a lower starting level than Tomas. Gordon joins at the beginning of the fucking game. This is the sort of bad faith thing that people bring up so often that, like, actually legitimately bothers me when there's, like, a Fire Emblem debate. And it's like, so people will bring up that, like, oh, the unit who joins 9 chapters earlier has slightly worse bases. Yeah, they also joined 9 chapters earlier, right? Like, if we're being actually fucking honest with the way that things go, Tomas has a trading arc that is going to be more annoying than Gordon's because Gordon is appropriately leveled for his join time. Tomas is under-leveled for his join time. Would you not just use Castor until this point? I mean, if you're using Castor, then use Castor and promote Castor. I don't understand. Like, why does it have to be Tomas? What is Tomas fucking offering besides being another shitty archer? It's better than being another shitty cavalier, but, like, he just doesn't offer anything to you. People have taken bases over growths far too far. It is a thing that comes up so often, and it is, like, actually an obnoxious argument. If you want to archer with good bases, George is right there. Yeah, exactly. Moving on from yet another bow unit, we've got yet another cavalier. Medea at least offers us the idea of her already being promoted, but, like, her stats aren't great for this point. These are dismounted penalties. So while mounted, her actual stats, her, like, real stats, or I guess her outdoor map stats, are 7 strength, 11 skill, 9 speed, 7 luck, 10 weapon level, 9 defense, 6 resistance. It's not even that much better. It's like 2 defense, 2 strength. Her mounted stats are still god-awful. Oh my god. At least she's promoted. Promotion items are scarce in FE3, but, like, holy shit. This is, an unfortunate unit. This is an unfortunate unit. She's not even bad, just mid. Yeah, no, I do think her being promoted is, like, it's enough of a niche that it's offered, and she recruits Astrum, so people want to keep her alive for that reason. I would say she's mid is probably accurate. But, God, those are unfortunate stats for this point in the game. This is the first map where you get the Night Crest. Yeah, but, like, maybe you want 3 paladins, because, like, Jake and Hardin and Medea. Medea is a unit that exists. Now for the only worthwhile one of these bozos. Not for the only worthwhile one of these bozos. Boa is another bishop. And unlike, hey, let me hand you another paladin, or another fucking cavalier, another armor knight, another archer, another mercenary, another whatever you want to say, I will always take another bishop. Bishop's a good class. He's not as fast as Wendell, but he's Wendell number 2, and Wendell's really good. So, like, we appreciate Wendell. And we appreciate Wendell number 2. Weapon level 12, like, he can use all the staffs you care about, he can use all the tomes you care about. decent combat stats. He's pretty fucking cool. He's pretty baller. I like Boa quite a lot. I think he's the only one of these bozos I would actually, like, willingly field in a non-challenge run context. Obviously, he's worse than Wendell. It's mostly just availability. But also the speed is relevant. Like, 10 speed compared to, I think it's base of 12. Yeah, base of 12. So, like, that's relevant for some doubling thresholds with some of the heavier tomes or whatever. But, like, Staffer hits on res, doubles, 4 strength. He's cool. Medea's excellent filler in book 2. Yeah, but this is book 1. We're talking about book 1. Like, these are the unit reviews for book 1. We will get to the unit reviews for book 2 when we play book 2. Why is Wendell so goddamn fast? It's all the cocaine. Of all the units to be, a slightly worse version of Wendell is a good one to pick. Okay, so we're gonna have to do a bit of a shuffle to keep these guys alive. Because I do want to keep all of them alive. Meanwhile, start charging all of y'all. The question is if we want to use warp to catch these thieves or not. It's kind of crazy how this map has these guys unironically fire on defenseless prisoners. That also happens in the Binding Blade, doesn't it? On, not Nino, Lalina. It wouldn't be Fire Emblem if there weren't war crimes. So true. What about Ephraim Route Tana? I don't think there's any ranged enemies around her, so normally they do not. In FE6, Lalina can be guaranteed to survive if you move her correctly. In FE11 Hard 5, one of the prisoners will die unless you warp someone in on turn 1. Not just one. 3 of them, right? Like, 3 of them start out in range. I had Barth warped over there in my recent playthrough because he had like 12 strength by that point and he could just choke slam the Thunder Mage. Alright, George, Steel Bow. Oh, you probably don't double the Thief with the Steel Bow, do you? AS of 6, 5, 8. So we'll Iron Bow the Thief? Who cares about the 11 version of them? Yeah, they don't even have weapons. Not that their weapons, like, the weapons would go to Convoy. So it doesn't even matter. Okay, we get the Rapier. Use the Power Ring. Javelin U. It feels like yesterday we were confused about the reinforcements on this FE12 map. Good times, or bad times, depending. Fireball U. It was the best of times, it was the blurst of times. Okay, Medea can take one more, and then she's gonna have to swap spots with someone. Dodge the javelin. Nope. Arcania stat boosters going crazy. They're even stronger in FE1. Wait till you get the boots. I actually really like how the boots work in this, because the boots... And I wish this was how the boots worked in every game. The boots will, the boots will give more movement. To infantry, as opposed to cavalry, mounted units. Which is awesome, I think. Did I forgot to give armor slayers to people? I forgot to give armor slayers to people. Because Oguma should have an armor slayer here. That's an oopsie doodles. Alright, let's reblow. Medea. Horses need twice as many boots since they move on 4 legs. I'd be fine if mounts could use boots in this game, because they get shit in the later half anyway because of the forced dismount. Yeah, I don't think dismount is as bad as necessarily it's made out to be. Wait, I thought there was a warp. I thought we got warp from that guy. Was it the door key? Who has warp? Is warp in one of the chests? Warp must be in one of these chests. Loki, using boots on mounts should just pull up a message saying, why the fuck would that work, and not let you use it. Palms dodged. The dismount penalty should have been -3 to all stats in FE3. What, because that's a reference to 3? Medea does not want to dodge this fucking javelin. The added drip just gives them the confidence to move further. So true, though. There we go, Aguma. If the independent wiki is to be believed, the warp staff was removed from this map. It's only there in 1 and 11. Ah, okay, so do we just only get the one warp staff, or is there a second one? When do we get our next warp, then? A leather shoe is less weight than a horseshoe, but not as good as the silver horseshoe. Augmification intensifies. Thunder Sword! Minerva is level 4. The second warp staff is in a chapter 14 chest. Okay. Weird that they made the thief drop. Like, that's such a weird change. Obviously, like, there's way too many warps in FE1, so I approve, but weird change. Yo, Oguma not fucking around. AS of 5. What's your AS? 2. Yes, okay, so we can steel bow here. Get rid of the mage. I wish warp wasn't the most broken thing ever, but it's, like, impossible to make it not that. I think Engage, if Micaiah didn't exist, warp would be fine. By literally limiting... By literally limiting it, so only... You can only go a specific number of tiles, I think it works. Just need to buff rescuing and remove warping. Rescue chaining is cooler anyway. I mean, I think rather than removing warping, right, make warp less tiles than rescue. Can be sort of the trade-off. Was Engage really the first game where warp had limited range? No, it has a fixed range. Normally, warp depends on your magic, or it's infinite. But in Engage, it's just always 5 times, right? And I think that is the way you stop it from going out of hand. Because in other games, it's like, it depends on your magic, but then you just get someone like, you know, Nime with a ridiculous magic stat, and she can just warp everyone everywhere. So, it's still limited, but it's not as limited. Starting with FE6, it was magic divided by 2, and in 6, they also added the +5. Yeah, the +5 was so unnecessary. We get the Orion's Bolt. I wish there was a way to keep it in check. I think that is the way you keep it in check, though. You just say your magic doesn't affect it. Like, it's just... Even, they tried in 3 houses. They made it magic divided by 4, and Lysithea was still crazy, right? Like, you just make it your magic, it doesn't affect it. You're just stuck. It's a tool. It has a specific range. You can only do that range. You can do cool stuff with it, probably. But that's it. That's, you got it. And that's, you can't do anything about it. I think bosses having multiple HP bars keeps warp in check indirectly. True! Again, if Micaiah couldn't just warp 5 people, right? Like, that's the problem, is Micaiah is the problem. I think magic affecting warp could work if magic was only really low % growth, like FE3. But then mages just suck ass. If in order to level up your magic stat, you have to do a 3% to level it up, then mages just suck ass, right? Do you want mages to suck ass? Like, maybe you do. Maybe you hate mages, and this is anti-mage propaganda. Make warp 1 use and make it a reward for saving a green unit 37 tiles away from your deploy that dies on turn 3 and the game tells you. I mean, at that point, just don't make it. You know? At that point, just don't make it. Like, just don't... At that point, you should just not have it in the game. I think. What is this dragon drop? Is it just a vulnerary? Yeah, I don't want to bother with that. More like Smellius. The LTC people will say that warp is easy to get then. True. if Warp Range had range ranks tied to staff ranks, so the devs could put a cap at something reasonable but allow for progression, that could actually, I think that's a really cool idea. I think that's a really cool idea. That could be interesting. Fortune's Weave, take notes. Me playing Path of Radiance a few months ago, look at how they massacred my class. Oh shit. Oh shit. They figured me out. They figured out my strategy. The archers are coming for me. Meanwhile, George just fucking clowning on them. What if you have farther warps for more uses? Oh, like the distance that will affect the durability? That could be interesting. That could be interesting. Common Archer W. Saying Mage and Batistelius is like beating a dead horse at this rate. There's still some people who disagree, though. And they're allowed. They're allowed. Defense, Jesus. I think I gotta use Kaga's turn wheel here, actually. I screwed up by having Linde attack. So that's our first Kaga's turn wheel. I think you just get a game with a hellish economy, not really a worse warp staff. Only if repairing the warp staff was, a thing. Oh, you're saying if you had to spend gold for warp tiles? Yeah, I think that would just ruin the game's economy. I gotta agree with that take. Not sure if this is a hot take, but I wish there were more classes that could use staves. I think they're an interesting part of the game design, but they feel underutilized. I think you gotta make staffs more interesting for them to be interesting. Engage gave us Obstruct, which is cool, but then unfortunately just became the canter button. Lance soldiers should have staff. Royal Knight propaganda. I mean, I like War Monk from Awakening. If you gave War Monks, like, lances, I wouldn't complain. I mean, they did in Fates, actually. The War Monk equivalent in Fates is Grandmaster. And that's a staff X lance unit. Ailment staffs are really cool. I wish there was an actual reason to use them. You mean like statuses? Like Berserk and stuff? Yeah. Ailment staffs scare me just because enemies are likely to use them as well. I like how Fates does it, where it only lasts one turn. Or in the case of Hexing Rod, it's permanent and you hate your life. All the kill utility buffs are always run into why not just kill the enemy. I mean, it's a problem Final Fantasy Tactics solves. Statusing the enemy is better than killing them in Final Fantasy Tactics because you can actually do it. Whereas statusing an enemy or killing an enemy on the hardest modes, right? The Evilise Chronicles, the super hard mode. It takes so many more actions to kill them than to just, like, stun them for a turn, right? It's a common JRPG problem. It is. Especially because if they make statuses too strong, then they just make all bosses immune to them, and so they're pointless. What if poison status was instant death after one turn? Well, then you would run into the problem the status is too strong, they have to make everything immune to it. I think poison being instant death after one turn would be boring. Thieves should be able to use low-level staves to play into their utility for status staves. What if status staves return, but as, like, a personal staff? I like how SMT Nocturne handles ailments. I haven't played that one. How does it handle them? Bring back Trickster. Trickster's a good promotion for them. I agree. It's cool. And Adventurer. Kind of the same idea. But with bows, so it's better and cooler. Sexier. Not Vanilla Nocturne, Insanimax Nocturne. How does Insanimax Nocturne do it? It's a mod. Gotcha. I didn't know that. Sorry. Alright, I have to plan carefully who's gonna use the manual. Is Minerva a good manual user? What's Gradivis? 14? Gradivis is weapon level 12. Mercurius is 14? Minerva might be a good one. we have, because we just have the one, unless we go to the fucking secret shop. Only 9 strength. It's definitely not Marth. Do we arena abuse Camus map so we can get money for stat booster secret shop? Nah. Nah. The arena's too scary. Does anyone have Mercurius rank at base? I don't think anyone has Mercurius at base, right? Because Samson only has weapon level of 10, and I think he's the last sword user you get. I guess dismounted paladins, but there aren't any. Is Merc still a Marth PRF in 3? I don't think it is, but I might be wrong about that. Samson and Astron both start at 10, yeah. Strongest man in Arcanea moment. It's not Marth's? Yeah, that's what I thought. Strongest man in Arcanea. Bro did not need 3 PRF weapons. Well, the Rapier's not his PRF anymore either because of Fina. It's his PRF in book 1. Is that true? Chat, is this true? I think they mean the Rapier. Oh, I thought you meant Mercurius. My bad. Because Fina doesn't exist. Yeah, that's true. Because that would be crazy if the weapon was a PRF in only one book. Like, that would be insanity. Alright, we'll Kagas turn wheel that one. It's not like the Alm Staff where it gets 4 more uses specifically in Book 2. Oh wait, does it? That's actually crazy. So we've used 2 of our 3 Kagas Turnwheel charges. What's this guy's current magical bulk? 3 res, 15... Yeah, we can just aura bomb him. $85 hit moment. I think instead of doing casual mode, they should have tried more shit like Alm. I mean, there's no reason there can't be both. They did it in Fates. To attack. I guess I should clarify, I think casual mode was good for the series, but I think more surprised they went straight to the removal of permadeath instead of experimenting with revival more.
You rebels who oppose Darua, taste my destructive Bolganone magic.
I mean, it started in FE12. Casual mode started in FE12, which has the Alm Staff.
Don't think one. Darua will not fall.
See, I don't know. Oh, do we need another... Do we need the... Wait, do we have another door key? Yes, we do. I was scared for a second we wouldn't have the door key for the fucking... that we needed for the fucking boots. So these guys are terrifying. Because they have silver lances? 21 attack! These guys are terrifying. And I'm pretty sure, do all 3 of them reach the door? 2 of them do, okay. So it's very easy to suffer from success. Doga gets 1-rounded. It was every pre-GBA map minus Awakening Intellius that has Alm, yeah, basically. Judd Girl has one? Yeah, the Valkyrie staff. 3-shit doesn't, but FE4 does. Five to 10 is not an insignificant amount of time. Yeah. It's especially since 6 through 10 is when Kaga first left the series, and it's sort of establishing its own, the new normal, its new identity, you know? In Gen 1, only Claude can use it, but in Gen 2, it can be Corpray or Sed. I believe those are the only two men that get stabs, right? Well, Leaf, but Leaf doesn't count, because you can't do it for Leaf. I know it'd be redundant now with how games are designed, but they should bring it back. I mean, I think games are still designed with permadeath in mind. It's just... casual mode is basically like an assist mode, right? So I don't think it would be redundant with how they're designed. Three Houses kind of was designed with Turnwheel in mind. But I do think the games are balanced for classic mode, right? Not casual mode. It depends. I guess it does depend, but I think they are mostly just designed with classic in mind. Three Houses is not designed with playing past deaths in mind. I mean, it's not super Iron Man-able, but I think there's a difference between playing past deaths versus, like, wanting to keep people alive. Like, you can play classic mode without playing past deaths. You just need to, you know, try harder and keep people alive. You're meant to keep, like, 8 or so goobers you get with your house. Yeah? But, like, you can keep them alive. Alright, let's get the boots. Now the question is Boots Marth or Boots Minerva? I think it's Boots Marth. I'm imagining Marth zooming around a castle after a sip of coffee. Arden, where did you get that horse? This is an indoor map! Alright, so here's the question, right? Tomas, weapon level 9, he can use Silver Bow, right? I'm trying to figure out if it's worth it to use Tomas, or if I should just sell the Orion's Bolt for stat booster money, right? 2 extra strength is nice, but money. And he's really the only person I would use the Orion's Bolt on, right? It's an Amy archetype. I guess we'll figure it out for next stream. Just sell the Bolt. How much does Bolt sell for? I guess that's the question. If Bolt sells for a lot... Because, like, I'm probably selling the Guiding Rings, right? Even though Linda and Merrick and, you know, the staffers are going to be used, I'm selling the Guiding Rings, almost certainly. I love these funny magic promotion items. You get the sudden knowledge of how to use a weapon or turn you to a horse girl. I tried 53 at some point, but I got bored kind of good. Watching you play is making me think about picking it back up. It's very clunky, so I can understand getting bored. Look at him zooming. Promotion items are valued at 10,000, so 5 grand sell value. Okay. Awesome. Thank you, thank you. So, we're also probably selling our 2 goddess icons. Because selling 2 goddess icons lets us buy 1 stat booster we care about. Thank you, Prince Marth. It was all thanks to your help that we could return to Palace. This radiant bow is called Parthia. It is one of 3 weapons passed down by royal family. Also, there's the Miracle Sword. Oh, we should Parthia George, shouldn't we? Also, there's the Miracle Sword and the Gradius Lance. It seems those 2 were taken by the enemy. If we could obtain those powerful weapons, your battles would become slightly easier. Yeah, weapon level 12. Because we actually have the Parthia for an amount of time. Let's use our last Kaga's turn wheel to use the manual on George. You could give them Manikeets to stay dragon form longer. That's true. That's true, because luck affects it, doesn't it? Alright, so this basically seals the fate. This basically seals the fate of the Orion's Bolt. Manual Tomas to be epic. Nah, I think chat's right. I think we should just sell it. Five plus 0 or 1 times luck divided by 2. But it's after midnight in my time zone. You know what that means. We're ending the stream.